Lots of Champions chat tonight, boys. That's right. The Champions Trophy's going on in the cricket. We are watching India and Pakistan live. Australia, big win last night against the old enemy. Philadelphia are world champions in the NFL. World champions, as the Yanks like to say. But regardless, the Eagles win the Super Bowl. We'll talk Super Bowl and the end of the NFL season. Champions League getting to the pointy end in Europe. And still, Dricus du Plessis is still champion at UFC 312. Plus, calling your mates champion to alpha them still pretty funny. So, champions, how are we? This is On The Esky. It's an Aussie sports podcast, like our Aussie sport, like our US sport. On YouTube, there's timestamps. You can skip to the sports that you like or just watch the whole thing. If you're finding us here for the first time, hit that subscribe button. And we do have Instagram, Facebook, and X to follow along on the socials. Shauna, you kitted out in HSV gear tonight?
Yes.
Who's your shout of beer?
Yes, well, I'm taking that motorsport theme. It's racing's about to kick off. NASCAR's kicked off. Supercars kicked off today. F1 is about a week away for testing in 2 weeks after that for the start of their season here. So with that, I wanted to shout a beer to William Byron, who won NASCAR's first race of the season, which is the Daytona 500, which is one of the biggest races on their calendar.
Yep.
That's his second win of that very race. And, yeah, I wanted to shout him a beer to kick off that NASCAR season, which will run for the next couple of months. So motorsport is back.
Yeah, big time of the year for the Revhead fans. F1 not too far away. Kick-off in Melbourne in 2 weeks.
14th of March.
Yep. 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks
Testing's next week. And then 2 weeks after that. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Supercars were in Sydney today. And Cam Waters won all 3 races. So he's kicked off his season very well.
Very good. I will shout Cody Ramsey a beer if he's allowed to have one. Maybe one of these heaps normal non-alcoholics would be good for him. The Dragons fullback returned to the field last weekend playing for the New South Wales Cup side in their trial against Newtown after missing 896 days of footy. That's 2.5 years. Battling ulcerative colitis, essentially an inflammatory bowel condition. There was a lot of speculation as to whether he would even play footy ever again.
Yep.
So good to see him out there. He's just turned 25. He's had a baby, little girl, in the interim as well. Just to play any footy again is a massive achievement. So already back in the cup side. I'd be surprised if he made it into the Dragon 17 this year, but get some run in the legs and hopefully he has a injury-free 2025 and able to play some consistent footy again after being out for an extended period of time.
Definitely.
That's real cool.
Jimmy?
Monks?
Yep, quick one. So I'm shouting Canada.
Canada.
Wow. Damn, get the tab out, bro.
Canada.
Wow. Canada hockey. They beat the old rival USA after losing to them earlier in the Four Nations face-off, which is the hockey tournament in place of the hockey NHL All-Stars this season. So a little competition run between the US, Canada, Finland, and who was the
Sweden.
Yep,
okay.
that's right. So not without a little bit of, competitiveness at the start of the game. There was, 3 fights in the first 5 minutes?
Yeah, that was in the regular game.
The first game.
The first game?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was 3 fights in the first 9 seconds.
Yeah.
And I was like, gloves down, punch on, into the box, repeat.
Yeah.
Off the back of the Canadian home crowd booing relentlessly during the US national anthem.
Yeah.
NBA All-Star Tournament weekend, whatever's going on in the NBA at the moment, just seems to be less and less appealing every year, I would say.
Well, as a direct comparison, because the hockey Four Nations tournament was running at the same time, and you can see the hype, the viralness of it, and then passion, and then you flip side and you see Wembley and Chris Paul refusing to shoot, thought they gamed the skills championship by just throwing the ball away so they could clear the balls out instead of actually taking shots before they were disqualified from said skills championship. It was just like that happened. That was kind of a shit show, and then we had the massive competitive USA Canada game just before it. So
as a direct comparison, definitely the hockey was winning in that regard. Maybe Wemby just had a sore shoulder, bro.
We'll get to
the
that.
news that came out yesterday. Yeah, maybe he was just nursing that shoulder. But yeah, how do we make this All-Star weekend more interesting? I've got an idea. And it's not an original idea. People talk about it. I think they might need to go to a USA versus the world format. And if people are playing for their country, maybe that entices a little bit more passion. The format this year was the 4 teams they did with shortened games, like a tournament style. And it wasn't very intriguing. It was Shaq's OGs beat Chuck's Global Stars. The old fella's still going all right, hey? It was Dame, Curry, Harden, Tatum, Durant on Shaq's team. We all looked at Chuck's team, pretty loaded with international talent. But in a game that's only like a third of the length of what the normal games are, with no defense and no one really giving a shit. They came out on top.
That's it.
And I think the Pro Bowl, as a comparison too, was a couple of weeks before, like a week before that, or a week two before that, was just as bad. And it has led to that conversation about, why was this so good in hockey, and the comparison between the other two is like why they're just skills competitions essentially now with without a very interesting game about it. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's always the passion side of it. Like, you got to have something to play for. I had seen some rumors about the USA versus World format tournament, like versus international tournament, like game, and do that. And there's a reason why they don't want to do that, because they think the US might lose consistently with some of the talent that's coming from the international side.
One way to find out, boys.
But yes, there's also one way to find that out. But I think your point is, you put on a USA jersey, you're going to probably play a little bit harder. So you don't actually lose games like that. So I think passion is definitely a big thing.
I think it's the money.
Yeah, the money's a big thing as well.
You don't want to
injury risk.
get injured, 100%.
But hockey players make reasonable money too, and they're punching each other in the face. But
I mean, they do that week in, week out.
That's right. It's really apples and oranges, isn't it? I think the hardest one to get intrigue again is the NFL, the Pro Bowl. We're 3 big NFL fans down under here, and I couldn't tell you the last time I sat down and watched a Pro Bowl.
And
we barely knew it was on. We were talking about the Super Bowl a couple of weeks ago, and we're like, Pro Bowl's on tomorrow. We barely paid any attention to it.
They could probably...
I think injury risk is too.
Could they? I was just thinking, could they pull off a USA international?
Nah.
And I was just like, I don't think any of the quarterbacks would technically cover.
You wouldn't fill a team into that.
Well, I meant your birth heritage. Like, you didn't have to all play for USA. Like, you could nominate or some shit like that. I was just trying to think, but I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, some of the players do have the heritage flag and stuff. But I don't. It's
impossible.
I think what they're doing in terms of flag football and that lead into the Olympics.
But
works for them.
It's not as interesting as say the Pro Bowl in the 90s was. So.
Yeah, they used to light each other up.
Yeah, I always thought like a West Coast East Coast might be more beneficial, but again, it was like you're trying to represent something that you might have some passion in it.
Yeah, there's arbitrary lines like even the old East versus West in the NBA. Well, I suppose in the 90s there was a bit of passion there. I've got no answers for the NFL and how to make that more interesting. But I feel like the NBA, a good start would be the world versus the US.
They've got to figure out what matters and which would, give the teams passion to actually want to compete.
True. We do have to say, though, we are kind of looking at this in colour glasses because we do have the state of origin.
Yeah, nothing will
probably
ever
the most passionate sort of...
it matters.
Kind of type game.
So the game matters, and there's passion behind that. So they're the two. They're the ingredients you need to get to work it out. And that's why USA Canada worked, because it mattered. Because there's like, who's the best hockey country in the world? That's what they were trying to do. Again, going head to head to have the bragging rights for who's the best at this sport, and that's why they had passion about it.
Some other things from the All-Star weekend. Mac McClung won the slam dunk contest 3 in a row. First person to ever win 3 consecutive. Nate Robinson did win 3 in the 2000s. They weren't consecutive. Pretty impressive. Nate Robinson back in the day. I think he's about 5'9". Throwing dunks out there. Again, the dunk contests, incredible dunks from Mac McClung, but the bloke is essentially a G League player.
Yeah, well, they unfreeze him and they've had to rephrase him now and then put him next to Mariah Carey, so she'll come out at Christmas. But yeah, it feels a little bit like that. They just roll him out to show his skills, but outside of that,
there were some pretty sick dunks.
Jumping over the KO and doing
the one where he touch the rim,
touch the rim and then go over it, and his head's above the rim as well.
His hops are crazy.
He's crazy hops.
Yeah, but it's not exactly like a Dominic Wilkins or Michael Jordan, who won the thing twice back in the day, where you're having sort of some of the elite NBA players.
Well, that's again the point. Like, it's you don't have your franchise, your big faces of the NBA competing in these things regularly to kind of show them off.
I think it might have been Shannon Sharp who said during the week that he, again, like that whole comparison with LeBron and Michael Jordan's like, LeBron's never going to be within the same breadth as Jordan because Jordan did actually do stuff in the All-Star week as well. And it's like...
Surely that's not the thing that separates them, though.
It's not just the thing that separates them, but like just the fact, again, going back to like having LeBron that passion for the sport is like...
a bit late as well, so...
Yeah, like
but the fact at least that he's been to 20 of them or 21 of them, does that play into it?
I don't know.
He was laid out as well.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero won the 3-point contest. That's probably my favourite thing to watch in the All-Star weekend, I think, at the moment. Yeah, they need to do something because it's getting worse and worse each year. And we've spoken on the pod this NBA season, the ratings going down just in general. It's probably something that needs a bit of a revamp, I think, for next season.
Yep.
Double mop. We don't talk heaps of tennis on this podcast, but definitely deserving of a mop here. Yannick Sinner, the Italian world number one, he took a plea deal essentially with WADA, resulting in a 3-month ban, which will see him miss a total of 0 majors. And nothing gets actioned retrospectively, so there's no asterisk next to his Australian Open or previous majors. So this goes back all the way to March last year. Failed 2 drug tests, had the substance clestebol, anabolic androgenic steroid, in his system. He blamed the physio. Interesting side story there. Don't know if I'm buying it. But apparently this drug is available as a spray over the counter in Italy. It's on the WADA ban list. And it's essentially a deal, so there's no sort of admission of guilt, I don't think, because normally if this gets found guilty, it's looking at a 1 to 2 year ban at the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Nick Kyrgios came out and said on X that, thought it was a bit of a joke and that tennis is in a bit of a precarious situation if this is the example that they're going to set for, world number ones can sort of get a slap on the wrist. How do we find this one, boys?
Following up, I'm pretty sure Joker also said that it's a bit of a double standard. So, which his voice is a very strong one in tennis too. So, because I can't remember who helps. There was another, I think it was one of the ladies that was going through hers, and not as big clout, not as big name as Sinner, and was looking at facing 18 months plus for her ban. And it was just like, does she get the same sort of treatment if she's got the same sort of defence, or is it one rule for others, or who's got the best lawyers, etc.?
It's probably definitely a lot of that.
Yeah. So it just
sad day for tennis. That's what Nick said.
Yeah,
don't always agree with Nick, but I think he hit the nail on the head with this one. Yeah. It's a shock. It's a shocking look for the sport.
Yeah, because you got to remember, yes, it's a spray that potentially you get over the counter. It's on the ban list. You employ the physios that work on you. You probably should be vetting the things they're giving you. And you have failed 2 drug tests because you had used the thing. So it's on the ban list for a reason. I think it's pretty open and closed case, whatever it is. Whatever that saying is. Open and
case
shut.
Closed. So the ban is effective until 4th of May. The 3 that must as well go from when he stopped playing most recently, maybe. Yeah, because that's not 3 months. That's not 3 months from this week. So he's already served a few weeks, I think, going through this process.
And just after the Oz Open.
And it clears him for the French Open. The timing of it all just seems very deliberate.
Yeah. Oh, very much so.
Well, for him, if they offered him this deal, it's 3 months and you start serving it now, he's gone, yes, I'll take it. I haven't admitted any guilt, and I get a small slap on the wrist.
Yeah, they've got in this article here. So Britain's Tara Moore tested positive for nandrolone, got a 19-month ban, but Swiatek as well. Last year, she only got a month for testing positive for a prohibited substance. So it seems, where you are in the rankings and perhaps your earning capacity, maybe the difference here. Well, let us know in the comments what you reckon. Definitely a bad look for tennis, I think.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
All right, let's talk some cricket. We've got a bit to get through here with the cricket. Hit that button, Max. We'll start with the Aussie tour of Sri Lanka. It's been done now for a little bit, but we haven't potted for a couple of weeks. Second test in Gaul after Australia won the first test handedly. Cooper Connolly gets given a baggy green, 21-year-old. Pretty interesting because he didn't have a first-class 100 or a wicket. So definitely fast-track. They see a lot of potential with the young Western Australian. Poor Todd Murphy
see a
missed
lot
out.
of him out of this game, though.
Yeah, he didn't really need a whole lot out of him here. It might be interesting to see when he gets his next opportunity as well. Maybe the West Indies, we'll see. Sri Lanka batted first. They only made 257. Dinesh Chandimal was 74. Kusal Mendez, 85 not. And then Australia, 414 in response. Steve Smith, how good is he? 131. He was given out by Joel Wilson, reviewed, not out. So he's got a pretty good track record of Joel Wilson.
Yes. Put you on the big screen and change your decision.
Yeah, that's good. I think when he's umpiring, and you just go off whatever the opposite of whatever he says, and you'll probably be all right. So he got a little bit lucky. He missed one right before 100, and it's bounced straight over middle stump. It's his 36th ton. That's 4 in his last 5 tests. 36 goes equal with Joe Root and Rahul Dravid. You'd expect him to pass Dravid, and there'll be a bit of a shootout, I think, between Smith and Root. Probably eyeing down 40 test hundreds, I think.
Yeah, well, that was my follow-up question. Can he catch Ricky?
Yes, I think.
So
41. So 41's for punter.
Yep.
So he needs 5 to equal, 6 to pass. Look, the way that he's batting at the moment, you'd say yes. If you
They've got 3 more tests this year, and then
they got 3 before our summer.
Yeah, so they have 3 in West Indies, and then of course our summer. So
7 this year.
So plenty of opportunities.
The way he's batting at the moment, for sure. If you asked us 4 months ago, maybe you'd think punter was safe there at 41. But the way that Smudge is playing, he'd have his eyes on 40 test hundreds, I think.
Talent up some minnows helps.
And then Alex Carey, 156 in this one. Batted 5 for the first time ever. Boy from Loxton. Doing all kinds of things. We'll get to the Champions Trophy in just a second. So his second Test 100, I believe, there for Cares. He's been pretty good with the stick over the last 12, 18 months. Since he got pushed in the pool in Pakistan. That was his magic moment, I think, for Cares. And given that we were 4 for 350 at one stage, Sri Lanka's probably lucky that we didn't score 600 plus again. Sort of cleaned up the tail. It wasn't enough.
Pretty quick,
they only made 231 in return. Angelo Matthews, top scorer for that one, for them in that one, 76. Matt Kuhneman, 4 for 63, finishes the series with 16 wickets at 17.2. I reckon he's got a suspect action.
Yeah, I think that's the big story that came out of this. Out of all of the series, Australia was pretty dominant. But the big thing was, the Matt Kuhneman and his suspect action. If you watch the action, I can see probably why they've asked for it to be reviewed because it's, I think it's just the way he kind of generates his arm speed, the initial, because his arm's kind of cocked and then it comes out very quickly and then straightens and then he gets a bit of the old boomerang flex, I think, as well on the back end. So I can see probably why, but I think based on what I understand of the rules and the way his arm passes his head in that motion, I think he'd probably be okay.
Yeah, there's one elephant in the room here for the Sri Lankans reporting him as well. Murali. Watching him live, I can't see any issue with his action, but I'm also a one-eyed Australian, so I don't really know.
Well, when he's in the action and the ball's passing his head and releasing, that looks fine. I think it's in that that initial kind of wind-up. He gets a bit of a tucked arm and he sees elbow go out a little bit. More
than 15 degrees? The rule is, I just looked it up.
No,
it's 15 degrees.
So it looks, that's what I'm saying. I think it looks in that bit a bit off, but then the rest of the action is fine. Like I think the actual bowling action side of it is good. So I'm not sure if Jimmy can find a quick video of Kuhneman bowling a ball to have a look at, but that's the only thing I could see as suspect in that.
Yeah, so they'll have a look.
So I think he'll be right.
Yeah.
My point is, I think he's going to be right.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to have any difficulty, but he has to now go through the whole review process. They do the scans and the video and all that sort of shit, and play it in frame by frame and see if they've actually got an issue.
Surely with sports tech these days and like biomechanics and all kinds of things that I know happens from a sports medicine perspective, surely they have a pretty accurate measure of how much his arm goes.
So
we've got it here.
That looks fine. So you just watch his initial tuck.
It looks perfectly fine.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest,
like the show side on.
We're watching in full speed here. It looks to the naked eye, it looks fine.
Yeah, I think it's just that initial kind of cock, and it looks like a toss, like from the top. So it's just this.
I can see where. Yeah,
it's just like that little. Yeah, and then see how like sometimes it looks like he not throws it, but he's got a slight whipping motion. I think is what makes it look worse than it actually is. Yeah. But where like his arm is and the release point and all that is all looks fine to me, honestly.
We've found a few videos here on YouTube, so check it out if you haven't seen his action in slow-mo. There's a couple good ones going through it, but my feeling is he'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Australia 1 for 75 in response, 9 wickets in hand, win the series 2-0. Our first series win in Sri Lanka in about 12, 13 years, I think it was. So retained with the first test win and then win the series and win in Sri Lanka for the first time in a few visits.
I think Marnus hit the winning runs in this too. So it was
26 good bit of reading for
finish,
him.
Yeah, finish off. He had a pretty short series otherwise.
He did, yeah. What did he get? 4 in the first innings, I think? Yeah. 4 given not out. Sri Lanka reviewed. He was out. So good bit of red ink there. There'll be lots of chatter, I think, middle of the year around the starting 11 and the likes of Cam Green might be healthy. Sam Constas will be there or thereabouts. Interesting dismissal for him against Scotty Boland in the Shield. Definitely playing that T20 style in red ball cricket. And then the knock before that in the One Day Cup for New South Wales, smashed 100.
Yep.
So he's definitely rocks or diamonds. It'll be interesting to see if Macca sits him down and says, look, if you're going to be in the Australian system, do we want you to play your natural game or do we want you to tone it back a bit?
I think then probably Josh English is the main one that I think's right on the cusp with his recent form.
Yeah, well, the bloke's averaging close to 100 at the moment. So, off to a really good start in Test cricket. There was 2 ODIs. Sri Lanka won both of those. First one by 49 runs and the second one by 174 runs. Has smoked us in the second one. A couple of hundreds there for the Sri Lankans. So Asalanka and Mendes respectively. So wasn't all doom and gloom for the host nation. They win the white ball series 2-0.
Not a full strength Australian side.
Yeah,
caveat.
Yeah,
asterisk.
Excuses. AB medal was also a couple of weeks ago. We'll just quickly mention it because we haven't had a podcast. Travis Head, Australia's most favourite son at the moment, father of India, etc., wins it with 208 votes. Josh Hazlewood runner-up with 158. Paddy Cummins third, 147. Test player to Josh Hazlewood, ODI player Travis Head, T20 Adam Zampa. And Annabelle Sutherland, congrats to you as well, Belinda Clark Award for the girls off the back of her double 100 at Perth and the ton at the MCG. She's had a very good summer.
Scott Boland did well for Australia in the summer, but people forget how well Josh Hazlewood had played all year.
100%.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk some Champions Trophy. So interesting, we are talking about lineups. We're a little bit stronger than we were for those 2 ODIs against Sri Lanka, but not by much. So some big outs. So Pat Cummins nursing a bit of an ankle injury, plus new father again. Yep. Josh Hazlewood has a bit of a hip and a calf. Mitch Marsh out with the back. Mitch Stark late omission. I think they've just said opted out, rested. So I don't know if he's eyeing off the IPL. and then the news that Marcus Stoinis had retired. So he actually a sort of forced retirement, had a hammy injury playing T20 cricket over there for Durban Super Kings in South Africa. Finishes his ODI career with 71 ODIs, 1495 runs at 27, let's call it, 48 wickets at 43. Probably not, anything to write home about with his numbers at the end of his career. He started his international career really hot. He had that mad 140 odd that he scored against New Zealand in what was his second ODI back in 2017. And then I think he had like 650s and that 100 in his first 25 innings. He was averaging 40. And then it's all sort of been a bit downhill for him. He actually doesn't have an ODI 50 since 2019. But Big Stoin calls it a day. Definitely when he's on, excellent cricketer. And I'm sure we'll see plenty more of him in domestic format cricket. Yep. So who's that left? So Alex Carey was always going to be in there. Travis Head was always going to be in there. Maxi, Steve Smith, Zampa were probably all in for sure. And then we ended up going with Nathan Ellis, Aaron Hardy, Josh Inglis, Marnus kept his spot, Matt Short, Sean Abbott, Ben Dwarsis, Jake Fraser-McGurk, Spencer Johnson, Tanveer Sanger as the backup spinner. Yep. Tournament started Feb 19. When was that? Wednesday night there in Karachi. So Pakistan co-hosting with the Emirates. We're in the group with England, South Africa, Afghanistan, New Zealand. Fuck, they looked all right in the first game, didn't they? A couple of hundreds at the top of the order there for the Black Caps. They beat the hosts by 60 runs.
They'll make the final and lose.
It would be a very Black Caps thing to do, to win their 3 pool games, win the semi-final and lose the final, or maybe just lose a semi. They always look good in the group stage. We'll see how they go towards the back end.
Does the table allow them to play England in the final, and then we'll have a choke-off?
Oh, that's a good question. 2019 ODI World Cup with the stupid draw rules. Count back on 4s. That's a joke. That's a good question. I think it depends on where they finish, maybe.
Probably depends on where they seed. Yeah.
But England losing last night, you'd be surprised if they finish first in our group. The other game in Group A, India beat Bangladesh pretty comfortably. And then in the other game in our group, South Africa beat Afghanistan pretty handedly. Last night, England, bat first, 8 for 351. Ben Duckett, really good knock, 165. But I think the biggest talking point for Aussies was that Carey catch.
Yes. Do you know you played football?
Yeah, bro. Giants captain. He had to choose. He was the Giants captain. And fielding at mid-on, no gloves, no problems. Check it out if you haven't seen it already.
English.
Yeah. So pick 2 keepers, and obviously Carey can field in the outfield, no dramas.
Yeah.
So 351 was the score set. We were looking pretty ordinary, 2 for 27 at one stage there, with Head and Smith out. And then Josh Inglis, 120 off, just 86, unbeaten. I liked this little tidbit that you had in there, 5th Aussie to score a ton in all formats.
Yep.
I looked it up because I was like, I wonder who would have actually done that. Shane Watson, David Warner, Glenn Maxwell.
Yep.
Forget Maxie has the Test 100, and Beth Mooney in the girls. Yeah, so pretty illustrious company there for Josh Inglis. India's currently playing Pakistan. This game is in Dubai. A bit of a lackluster crowd, I thought, considering these are 2 powerhouse nations.
I checked and we've seen some headlines like, it's a farce, why is it in Dubai, etc. So,
look, this is just all allegations, allegedly here. Maybe the BCCI has some pull when it comes to international cricket, and they said, we don't want this game to be played in Pakistan. Let's have a neutral venue, et cetera, and we're watching how many people? Do you reckon? I reckon there's 10,000 in there, maybe tops. Here in the Emirates. You can imagine if this was in Karachi or Lahore, how packed out this would be with fierce rivals. It could be. Maybe it's a safety thing as well. I don't know. Maybe.
Where's the final going to be played?
Yeah, that's a good question. Hey, can you look that up?
So, if Pakistan makes a final, I don't think it's going to matter.
I feel like it's in Pakistan. Yeah. Bigger stadiums.
I would think it's...
Actually, I might have it in the notes. Look at this. Final, March 9 in Lahore or Dubai. So maybe it depends on...
Yeah, it depends if India makes a final.
Maybe. Look... jokes aside, I suppose it's massive for Pakistan to be hosting a major tournament after all the years of not having cricket in their home country. So, look, maybe beggars can't be choosers when it comes to some of the logistics. I'm sure there's lots of smart people that are involved with planning these tournaments. Yeah, and I don't know. Now, the more I think about it, maybe there is a safety
Has
issue.
India played in Pakistan recently?
I don't think they've played in Pakistan. No. They play regularly, but it's nearly always in the Emirates. If you want to look up there, Monks, last time India played in Pakistan. We're
probably the 90s.
Off to a good start in ours. India and New Zealand off to a good start in theirs. It's pretty much must win now for the teams that have lost. So England backs up against the wall. Pakistan back up against the wall. Afghanistan, Bangladesh. You'd be surprised if either of them get out. So we've got tournament cricket here, which is good.
Yep. Last meeting was Test in December 2007.
18 years.
Yeah. ODI. Apparently played an ODI.
I remember that. Was last year?
2003? 23.
Yeah.
223. Jeez.
Yeah.
And they played a T20 international last year.
But that 2023 World Cup was in India. So India hasn't played in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on this one as it unfolds. India in the field, Pakistan yet to lose a wicket. None for 25 off 5. Let's talk NFL.
He broke his ankles!
The Eagles, Super Bowl champions, they beat the Chiefs. The scoreline probably didn't reflect how one-sided this game was. Finished Eagles 40, Chiefs 22 there in New Orleans, Super Bowl 59. Boys, what do we think of the game? It was pretty one-sided.
Yeah, I think we hit a lot of the good points in our preview leading into it about the name value and the defense that the Eagles had, and maybe that was the difference, and I think it ended up being the case.
Yep.
And on the flip side, the Kansas City defense, their secondary struggled a little bit, and I think they sold out to prevent the run, and I think they did that well, but Hurts had plenty of options to then be able to move the ball around and score some points. So I think they were just dominant on both sides of the ball, and that was what led to the result.
Yeah, I think we've got to give ourselves a little pat on the back here. Oftentimes we say dumb shit and get things wildly wrong. But, when we were breaking it down and we were looking at the defences, and we were like, the Eagles' defence is pretty well-rounded for a team that's very young on the defensive side of the ball.
They've drafted really well, and, top to bottom just have a lot of talent. So,
and we spoke about Zach Bourne and how he's all-pro and sort of really came out of nowhere. We spoke about their front seven being incredibly strong. Josh Sweat had himself a really good game. And then we spoke about the secondary with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, how good they've been this year. Probably didn't expect Cooper DeJean to go pick six, take one to the house. 38-yard defensive touchdown for Philly to go up 17-zip. Pretty good story.
Yep.
First intercept in the league. So not just first playoff intercept or first pick six, or first intercept, full stop, on his 22nd birthday, takes it to the house in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
crazy.
I think it all led from that defensive front. They finished with 8 sacks for the game, something like that.
Some stats have a look. I think Josh Sweat himself had 2.5, didn't he?
Yeah, so
2.5.
Milton Williams had 2. Jordan Davis had 1.
Yeah.
4.5, 5.5, 6
and 6. Yeah,
Yes.
and I think Mahomes had no pocket essentially the whole game. So I think the
pressure was just,
and I think the big stat was they didn't blitz a single time in this game. It was just So it's front four, and they just dominated against the 5. There's been some vision of Kels getting picked on a little bit as well about his effort in some of these blocking scenarios, or where he's meant to chip and being very late off the ball. I feel like once they got behind, that pick 6, they were shell-shocked, and Philly had all the momentum and just took over the game and then ran away with it. So once they kind of played prevent defense and got some of the second stringers in there to finish the game off. That's when Kansas City, game was gone, and Kansas City just caution the wind or just throwing deep balls and pulled off a few to get some points to get it closer in the end.
MVP Jalen Hurts. You happy with Hurts winning that? Didn't really make. He had the one pick, but other than that, pretty handy game.
Yeah. Had a bunch of, what do you have? 3 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown.
Something like that.
So,
2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing.
Okay, yeah. I think that was, pretty good. I would have loved to have seen a defensive player get it. Like, I think Sweat's impact on the game kind of led to the early success they were having, which is why they got so far out in front and could dominate. So, I think it was his pressure again that led to the pick 6. So, I would have, if I had to pick someone else, it would have been Sweat for mine.
I suppose it's hard to win it as a defensive player, regardless.
Von was the last one to do it in 2015, so it's been a while.
You also, we mentioned the touchdowns. Jalen Hurts had 72 rushing yards as well. So 5 incompletions, 3 touchdowns accounted for. I think it went to the rightful man. Saquon actually did a good job, essentially.
I think that's where their game plan defensively was. We've got to take Saquon out of the game and then have Hurts try to beat us. Just unfortunately for them.
Which he did a couple of times as well.
Which he did, and their defense played really well. They couldn't defend a lead or have, be in a competitive situation. It just made it a little bit easier for Philly. They just on script the whole time and dominated.
Where would you have Devontae Smith these days as a wide receiver in the league? Skinny Batman. I kind of sleep on him a little bit.
I think everyone sleeps on him because AJ Brown's in that team.
Because he's not the best receiver on their team.
Yeah.
I think he's top 20 in the league.
Yeah, I think he's very good.
Yeah. He's had some interesting accolades now because he's a Heisman winner.
Yep.
He's a national champion and he's a Super Bowl winner.
He might be the 3rd or 4th
person
to do that. There's
not many.
There's not many, yeah.
Shout out to him, Skinny Batman. Mahomes can't win when Brady's in the building, eh?
That's the joke. So, I don't want to start the GOAT chat now, but it's interesting that Mahomes has now played in 5 Super Bowls, won 3. If he makes it to 10, and you just follow that math and he wins 6 of them, he'll still have 1 less than Brady did. So, I think he also became 2nd on the list for playoff wins.
It's crazy.
With 17, and Brady's still at 35. So, everyone's just he's really good. He's doing, he's going to be the GOAT. But there's so much football he still needs to play to get to that point.
It's that recency bias.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is still wild how far ahead Tom Brady is compared to everyone else. But, I think it's...
I suppose that's it. If you can play until you're 41 and still be competitive.
I think we said it last year after he won the last one, and we were having that conversation. It's just he has to play for so much longer and be so consistent. The team's got to be so good throughout the entire period to be in the conversation. It is wild how good, how long, and he's got to play 20 plus leagues of the league. And half the years he's got to make the Super Bowl and win most of them. So
he stays healthy and if they keep playing the way they're playing, there's going to be the conversation.
He's going to have plenty of chances, but it also is so fucking hard to do.
That's it. We did mention it last potty as well. Andy Reid means so much to that team as well. So you need to have Andy Reid there over Patrick Mahomes. We just touched on Travis Kelce. We don't know how many more years he's got. So who are they going to bring up as
rumors he's going to stay
as that Gronk comparison? Because
I think
that seems to be the formula.
I think all their weaknesses in that team were found out in this game. Their offensive line had been good but not great and got dominated. The secondary had been good, not great, and got dominated. And but the things that Patrick Mahomes' magic in their front 7 had got them to that point, and they'd played off that, and then Andy Reid covered it. But I think that is the best team on paper. Probably in the NFL at the moment won the game because they were just better everywhere. Yeah,
every unit. The offensive line, elite. Spoke about the front 7, the pressure they were getting. Their secondary,
I think Howie should get a lot of props for that team for the way they've drafted, the amount of young talent they have, and just picking the right guys to add, to sign like Saquon. Just it was perfect for this because they needed that threat to then open it up the rest of the game. So,
I've got that list of NFL quarterbacks by playoff wins. So Brady 35 is double anyone else. Yep. Patrick Mahomes 17 now. These are the names that he's ahead of: Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, John Elway, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Brett Favre. pretty impressive list, considering, he's probably still got another 8+ years in him.
Yeah, he's probably going to play for another 10. So, he's going to have that 20-year plus career playing in his 40s.
Well, he's got that long contract at the moment. So.
Yeah. Something tells me it won't be the last time we see Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
We talked about Cooper DeJean and a rookie season he had. How about Xavier Worthy on the other side of the ball?
Yeah, actually had a pretty handy season. Again, they were garbage time touchdowns, but he did get 2 of them and showed off that elite speed that we know he has.
I think it was good because, again, another weakness, the receiving core for Kansas City kind of got shown up, and they really didn't have many open receivers, but Worthy played by far the best out of a lot of them. So, I think if Rice, depending on what happens with his suspension and his health comes back, I think Hollywood's deals up, and I don't think Juju's going to be back. They again probably look to add a young, maybe big body.
They might draft one.
Yeah, exactly, and build that young core, and then Mahomes can have some young guys to feast on.
His numbers for the season, not incredible. 59 receptions, 638 yards, 6 touchdowns. So a lot of sort of gadget plays and then the occasional deep bomb. But did score 3 on the ground as well. They're not bad numbers. But I suppose when you look at, say, Brian Thomas, if you want to compare from first round draft picks, not quite on that level. But he's definitely handy, and he's got that speed to burn. All right, so Eagles, Super Bowl champs, some pretty incredible scenes as well in the aftermath. And Jordan Mailata, we didn't mention. So first Australian to play. So Jesse Williams.
To start.
Yeah, Jesse Williams has a ring. So he was on that Seattle roster, but I don't think he played any games in the postseason and was quite limited in his match play through that year, but does have a Super Bowl ring. Jordan Mailata, first Australian to be in the winning team, and was getting up on the mic. Jeez, you know what would be more scary than playing against huge men at the pinnacle of the sporting world would be singing in front of 1 million people.
I think it was a few beers deep at that point.
I would say, he might have had a little bit of liquid courage.
Pretty comfortable. He's good. He's got a good voice. He's handy. He's handy. Yeah.
Check that out if you haven't seen him singing "We Are the Champions" to hundreds of thousands of people in the streets of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Jesse Williams, you've got him there. They gave him a Super Bowl ring, didn't they?
Yeah.
Trying to see how much he played.
Yeah.
So he wasn't in the 53-man roster, I'm sure, for that. Maybe if you can get the...
I would have thought at least one Australian punter had played in
so Wisniewski's played in one, but didn't win. He was in the losing 49ers last year. No Australians ever played and won.
Yes. He's
the second highest paid Australian athlete now as well, behind Ben Simmons. We'll talk some basketball a bit later. NFL Player Awards. MVP goes to Josh Allen. This was slightly contentious after Lamar Jackson was voted the All-Pro quarterback. Nearly always the All-Pro quarterback goes on to be the MVP.
Yeah, it's because they're the same voters. That's the other thing. Like they both vote on the same award, and then I did see some of the quotes and reasoning for why they changed it, and I think a lot of it was just bullshit. So I think it just came down to we want someone else to win the MVP. So
the Jokic sort of argument.
Yes.
Yeah.
27 first place votes for Josh Allen versus 23 for Lamar. Saquon Barkley was a shoe-in for Offensive Player of the Year. Your boy Patrick Surtain, too. PS2 gets Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie was pretty much a shoe-in towards the end with Jaden Daniels, although we did see Bo Nix sort of make a bit of a claim towards the end of the season.
I think that postseason... Actually, because the way they do the voting is actually not right after the season. It's kind of like... just as they lead up towards like Pro Bowl. Recency bias playoffs.
It's not meant to no.
But I think because we had the MVP Bowl and Josh Allen beat, the Bills beat the Ravens, and I think that was probably the difference for a lot of it.
Yeah, maybe consciously or subconsciously.
And you look at the postseason run Jalen Daniels did, there's no doubt you're going to pick him after the season he's had plus that postseason run.
So Bo Nix robbed is what you're saying?
Yes, definitely.
Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jared Verse. He's pretty handy from the Rams.
Great pick for them.
Kevin O'Connell, Minnesota, Coach of the Year. Comeback player, Joey Burr. Pretty much had MVP-like numbers.
Yep.
Nice to see him win something. And the Walter Payton Man of the Year, Eric Armstead from Jacksonville, offensive tackle. What are the rumours here with I was going to say AR12, but he doesn't wear 12 anymore. Aaron Rodgers, some speculation he'll be a Ram next year. What he won't be is a Jet.
Yeah, so definitely confirmed that he's not going to be back as a Jet. And there was a report today that Garrett Wilson has also rescinded his trade request because he's now happy with the direction of the team. So take with that as you will. But yeah, they've told Rodgers he's not going to be back. There was some reports of the caveats, like if he was going to come back, he couldn't do McAfee's podcast during the week and stuff like that. So I think they've just mutually like, hey, we'll go our separate ways and reset. The Matthew Stafford is interesting because at the moment they've allowed him to speak to teams about potential trades, essentially to gauge his value, because I think he might actually be getting close to like a year left on his deal. So it's just like we either might extend you on what's fair value for you as an older quarterback, or, we might work out a good trade and, we could look at finding a replacement. And then that connects the dots as like, maybe Aaron Rodgers makes sense as a nice bridge quarterback while you draft, someone to fill that spot, and McVay can teach them why Rodgers plays a year or two. So, the older quarterbacks, these two guys getting up there in years, how they kind of fit in for futures of teams that, again, want to potentially make pushes.
So Stafford is currently contracted next year.
Does have a potential. Oh yeah, they could get out of his contract and eat $50 million dead cap though. So
I don't think they'll want to do that. Does it make sense to you to go from Stafford to Rodgers?
This is where I think it's people just connecting the dots, because no, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You're not. If you want to get younger at that position, which is what I would think the Rams are thinking, then I don't think that makes a lot of sense unless you're thinking of bringing Rodgers on a cheap deal and then he'll play 2 years and then you flick him off for whoever your rookie is that you've hopefully had sitting behind him.
They are favourites, so Vegas has them at plus 250.
I just don't love the connection. I just don't.
Neither. Plus 300 for Raiders or Steelers.
Where's the Vikings sitting?
I think Vikings make a lot of sense.
Yeah, Vikings. Some people talk about Titans. I'd be surprised, I think, if he went there to finish his career.
Yep.
Be interesting. We won't know now for a couple of months, you wouldn't think. What do you reckon?
Free agency starts in 18 days. So,
but they won't announce it right at the start of free agency.
They need to announce it as a June, so don't
if they're cutting him, yes.
Yep.
But if Rodgers wants to sign with someone, if they're looking at Rodgers, they need to know whether they're moving Stafford. Like you want some certainty going into free agency to then be able to work out what you're going to spend and what you're going to work on for a team. So I think that's kind of, early free agency is probably going to be where that window is, where a lot of this stuff needs to be sorted out. And Russell Wilson, I think, is all but confirmed going from the Steelers. So there's another spot there. And Justin Fields, there's a lot of teams interested in Justin Fields after his resurrection there at the Steelers. That might be, like the Jets, seems like an interesting one for him, as a young quarterback to go to that team. So, watch his space. Not too long, and we'll find out when free agency kicks off.
You got JJ McCarthy up there. The Vikings don't really make sense to me if they've. What did he go? 12th, 10th in the draft? 10th it was. I think.
And they've got Sam Darnold. So
10th.
So it's just like if they re-sign Sam Darnold, there's also the potential that they try moving him too.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, hey, if we can get a high first round pick for him, and he can become someone else's problem. We can sign Sam Darnold.
It's a career year.
I know what you mean. Yeah, we can keep Sam Darnold, and
he's got good value now.
Exactly.
Sell high.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you might be concerned with his ACL, etc. But you sell high. You sell into one of those teams in need.
It was a meniscus, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think he did his ACL.
Oh, yes.
Semantics.
Yeah.
Knee related.
Knee related.
Zach Martin retires. Do you reckon we'll see him in Canton?
I think probably most likely.
I think so.
Yeah,
like seven All Pros. I think.
Yes, he didn't get the accolade, the team accolades, like going deep postseason or winning Super Bowls because Cowboys suck. But for what he does as an offensive lineman, he's been one of the best in the league, and had more All Pro selections than holding calls. That's the big stat. I think he's been in one of the best guards in football in the entirety of his career. So
7 first-team All-Pros, that's incredible.
2 seconds.
9 Pro Bowls.
9 Pro Bowls in that same time.
Just doesn't have the team accolades.
Yeah.
It's always hard from a stats perspective for offensive linemen as well. It's, you're looking at a receiver or a running back, it's very easy to look at their numbers, whereas, you don't really get
I think
pancakes or anything as a stat.
Yeah. But I think if you're... like the Hall of Fame guys, if you're into football and you watch football regularly, you know the dirty work and you know who's being successful at those positions. So,
how about his longevity? He had 11 seasons in the NFL. First 4 seasons didn't miss a game.
Yeah, I was just
missed
looking at
2
that.
in 2018. Full season in 2019. He missed 6 in 2020, and then full season, missed a couple this year.
Yeah,
pretty incredible. I reckon we'll see him in the Hall of Fame. We won't find out for at least 5 years.
Correct.
So salary cap's going up?
Yes. Yeah, I was actually just thinking about the Hall of Fame nominees because Eli Manning missed out on his first ballot. So they had some good competition there. But to answer your question, salary cap, yes, it's going up there. Somewhere around 280 is the talk. So it's going to be about 22 to 26 million bonus over what we currently have. So, a big pay bump. I think the team executives and teams are, it's a bit higher than expectation, which means the league is actually being very successful and making lots of money. So that, of course, goes back straight into the players. So, nice little boost there for the salary cap, and
it's a big boost.
There's some teams. Some teams have got some big cap space coming up. Can't remember which one. One of them's got over 100 mil of
Patriots have got
Patriots. Of cap space to potentially use. And you've got the Hall of Fame nominees there.
Inductees. So they're in. Eric Allen, Jared Allen, so double Allens. Yep. Antonio Gates, Sterling Sharp. That was. Yep. Announced at the NFL Honours in New Orleans. That's since our last pod. It is from a few weeks ago. Eli was it his first year? First year of eligibility. Misses out. I was having a nice little, I wouldn't say heated, but passionate discussion with some mates about this, watching the Super Bowl. His numbers...
And accolades.
But numbers alone, you'd probably think no. But he has 2 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, but that's the main thing. He doesn't have MVPs. His problem, direct comparison, you look at what Peyton's got.
Yeah.
And
always living with his brothers. You know what? Peyton's got 2 rings.
Yeah. And
same as what Eli had.
Did he win 4 MVPs? So
Eli doesn't have those.
Yeah. So I think, and Peyton's numbers are significantly better as well. So I think that's probably what the big difference is. I don't doubt he won't make it in, but then, is Roethlisberger up next year? And then, the same draft class as well, like Roethlisberger, maybe comparable numbers, if not better in some cases.
2 rings.
Also has 2 rings, so, yeah. And then I think also from that draft class, you also got to talk about Phil Rivers, who I think had better numbers than both of them, but no rings.
Yeah.
So, it's a good draft class of quarterbacks, but, it's going to be tough to actually figure out who fits in and the comparison.
Eli's numbers, 57,000 passing yards, 366 touchdowns, 244 intercepts, passer rating only of 84. Monk's got a nice side-by-side here. So how's that compared to Roethlisberger? Roethlisberger has more passing yards, way more touchdowns, less intercepts, higher passer rating. So,
and Rivers is comparable to what Roethlisberger had to.
So you look at that and you think Big Ben should probably be in next year. Really. Yeah.
And then awards, 2 championships for them.
Yep.
But the other 2, 4 Pro Bowls for Eli, 6 for Roethlisberger, 8 for Rivers. 2 Super Bowl MVPs to add there to Eli. But then, you look at comparison to Payton's numbers. 2 championships, 14 Pro Bowls, 10 All Pros, 5 AP MVPs, 2 AP Offensive Player of the Year. So.
Yeah.
I'm just going to see where these guys sit all time in passing yards. Big Ben's 5, Rivers is 6th, which is only 500 in front of Rogers, so he may fall down to 7. And then Eli's 11.
I kind of think, as a direct comparison from the guys in the same draft class, that makes it a little bit more challenging for Eli.
Mm.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. His big thing, of course, was I beat Brady twice.
Like, would have 9 rings if it wasn't for Eli.
Is that his win record there? Is it he was exactly 500%? 117 wins, 117 losses?
Yep. Yeah, exactly 500.
Roethlisberger.
Look at Roethlisberger's we have from a winning perspective.
Steelers were very good throughout his entire career. So
Yeah.
add that to that.
I was going to say, what the Giants defense was so good while...
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't score a heap of points in those Super Bowls either. I think.
Well, they were a wild card that year. But they were 9-7 and got hot with their defense. And shocked Tom Brady.
NFL Combines next week.
Yep.
Be keeping an eye on that for sure with the draft. 7 weeks away, something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, call it 2 months.
2 months, yeah.
It's around about Anzac Day.
Yep.
Draft order, I've just got the top 12 here. Titans, Browns, Giants, Pats, Jags, Raiders.
Yep.
Jets, Panthers, Saints, Bears, 49ers, Cowboys. That's subject to trades on the day. I think the top few will take their picks. I don't think anyone will trade down out of the top 3.
I think after the way
Patriots
coaches kind of played out, I don't think there's going to be any huge, say, quarterback trades or something, which would mean those top guys would move their positions. So, yeah, I think quarterback's probably going to go early.
Titans and Browns both could use a quarterback.
Yep.
Do we see
Giants
Cam Ward and Shedeur
well.
Sanders go 1 and 2? It's an interesting draft class because the gap from the second quarterback to the third quarterback's quite high.
Yeah, but Dart being that third one, I think there's a lot of hype starting to pick up on him and his talent. People, they're starting to look at the film and go, oh, this guy's actually pretty talented, though he might not have the same amount of quality around him that, say, the others had. So he's prototypical, quarterback. So he's starting to rise up that chart pretty good. And, a good week in Indianapolis will help, fast track him into that top 10 conversation.
Yeah, I'm on the NFL mock draft database. I'll be doing a few of these over the next few weeks. They've got him as a second rounder at the moment. So, like you said, if he performs well and it's thin-ish at the top at quarterback, don't be surprised to see him go first round or early first round. Yeah. Then you've got Jalen Milroe out of Alabama, Quinn Ewers out of Texas, Will Howard out of Ohio State, Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon, and then a bit of a fall down to some of the other guys. Well, that'll do us for the NFL season. Definitely one of our favourite sports to follow. It's such a long off season, but luckily we've got some footy happening down under soon. We'll definitely keep an eye on the combine and
free agency, not too far away.
Free agency, and then a big draft show. We've done the draft live actually the last few years, so that's always a bit of fun come April.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, let's talk some NBA.
Curry sets, fires, puts it up, bang!
We've already spoken about All-Star Weekend or no stars, however you want to view it. Let's talk about the NBA East. The Cavs still out in front. They're 46-10. They're on a 6-game win streak, and they're averaging 122.8 points per game. That's the most in the NBA. But they did lose in the last couple of weeks to Boston, which means the Celtics go 2-1 in that season series, and Celtics in second, they're $1.72 to win the East, so it's the shortest that they've been.
They've played 9 more games than the Cavs have.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all sort of starts to even out.
Yeah.
Knicks are in third, 37-19. They're $6 to win the East.
I had seen an interesting thing. I think they haven't beaten the Cavs or Celtics, and I can't remember who the third team was. But the top teams, they haven't been able to beat them.
Really?
So they're
Flat track bullies.
They're 0-6, I think, so far
Really?
against top teams. Yeah.
Yeah, look, they're good. Like, they had 2 all-star starters in Jalen Brunson and Cat. Trade, obviously, so far so good. Nick's winning that trade for sure. But, yeah, do they have the depth? And can they, like, are we already just setting up the Eastern Conference Finals already as being Cavs and Celtics? It's certainly, the more that the season goes, the more I get that feeling.
Yeah, I agree.
Pacers are in 4th. They're 31-23. $36. Miles Turner stays after some of the trade rumours of possibly going to LA. They thought they had their man in Mark Williams, but that got rescinded. We'll talk about that in just a second. Bucks in 5th. Giannis is 31.8 PPGs. That's 2nd in the league. Dame's actually playing pretty good too.
Yep.
They'll
be an interesting team if they can get hot.
Yeah.
But they're just kind of sitting there in the middle at the moment.
They're my smoky, I reckon, in the East.
Still, they're 5th, but they're sitting there at $13. So the
bookies don't really have them as too much of a smoky. Like, they're longer than the Knicks are, but they're 4th favourite according to the bookies. Mm-hmm. Pistons are a fun story. This is about as high as I can remember the Pistons in a long time. Yep. So they're 6th. Bookies still don't reckon they're going to do anything. What about the Dennis Schroeder trades?
Yeah, I loved your comment there.
He got passed around like Bonnie Blue. I don't know who that is. I've just seen things.
Yeah, if Sarah's listening, you don't know who she is. Now she's pregnant during the week, so...
I did see that.
Good luck on the DNA test for that one.
So anyways, Dennis Schroeder, he was, 4 teams in one day or something?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, there was a couple that got passed around a fair bit, but he within 24 hours he was on 4 different teams.
Crazy.
Just one of those guys that's like a good name, good value, but he's just not like a franchise dude we want to build around kind of thing.
He's such a journeyman, isn't he?
Yeah, so he gets moved around. Like he could be definitely in your starting 5 and probably play big minutes, but he's just not a core guy that you want to keep around.
No one sees him as a franchise point guard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is disappointing for him. It's not funny, but it's ironic after he made comments about the trade window being modern-day slavery, and then he was the guy traded the most within that time frame. So, I'm unsure if the league will look at that at all and go, maybe we need to do something. But feel bad for him for like you said, getting passed around a fair bit.
As you're booking your plane tickets, you'd be like, cancel that one up. Shit.
I'm assuming his agent's probably telling him, was like, hey, we've just made this trade. You're on this team. You're not going to end up there. Don't worry about it. I'm still working on finding a good spot for you.
I wonder how long it was in between each trade. Like, is he just getting calls like every 5 minutes?
It was all within 24 hours.
Yeah, it was very quick, very quick.
Or was it like 24 hours, but was most of it in like 1 hour?
Oh, probably, yeah.
Probably. Yeah, the first couple.
This is his.
I think he ends up in a good spot though. Like, he'd be pretty happy ending up in the Pistons.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Help out Cade and maybe they go on a little bit of a run. I think just being there will be massive for them. Well, these are Schroeder's teams that he's been on. He actually had 5 seasons at Atlanta, and then since then it's just been carousel. OKC, Lakers, Celtics, Rockets, back to the Lakers, Raptors, Nets, Warriors, Pistons. 10 teams.
Yep.
Poor bloke.
Pistons, so they haven't won a playoff game, well, not a series, a playoff game since 2008. They have been in the playoffs twice since then. They finished 8th in 2015-16 and in 2018-19, but they got swept both those times. So if they make it to the playoffs, it'll be their first time in 6 years. And if they win a game, it'll be their first time in 17 years. Still a while until playoff basketball comes around, but they're starting to look more like a playoff team. They'll definitely be in the play-in. You'd think they're 8 games ahead of Chicago, who's sitting 10th at the moment. Yep. Be interesting for the people of Detroit, who have had a bit to cheer about with the Lions recently too. Mm-hmm. Or maybe not, with them losing at home after dominating the NFC all year. Magic in 7th, 28-30. They've blown out. Banchero's back. He's starting to play a few more minutes, looking a bit better. Been very reliant on Franz Wagner. Hawks, I think Dyson Daniels was 149 steals when I last looked. He might have a couple more. That's from 50 games. He's 49 ahead of SGA.
Tell you that.
Great Barrier Thief.
Why are they so far out at $376?
I think once we get to... So the bookies reckon the Magic a top 6 team, and then it's just off a cliff. Although the 76ers last time I checked were $36. I don't know how that's happening.
Heat is still there at 71, but...
Everyone's long.
Yeah, it's long.
Well, realistically, Cavs could win the East. Celtics could win the East. I could see the Knicks. It would take a bit, and I could see the Bucks.
Yeah.
I think there's 4 teams that could do it.
Yep.
And more realistically, it's Cavs Celtics for the Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah, I agree.
Heat, they broke a losing streak. I think with the Jimmy Butler kind of stuff behind them, it's a good thing for them moving forward. I don't think they'll bother many teams this year, but that seemed like it was drawn out for an eternity. I felt like we talked about it for 2 or 3 podcasts in a row.
Oh, yeah.
And
it was all the start of the seasons.
Wasn't even the biggest trade in the trade window.
Crazy, yeah.
Hey, Josh Giddey's playing pretty good. He had 27, 16 and 4 the other night. I think he had 24 and 10 assists today. They're just not winning games. But
I feel bad for him. Like he's definitely... I don't think the Thunder really wanted to move him, but I just feel like all the shit that went on last year and the way the finals went on, they just thought it was better for a fresh start for them and him. So,
in some regards, though, he is one of the best players on the Bulls now as well.
Yeah, I think the Bulls won that trade because of it. Like I don't think the Thunder really got anything of significant value out of it.
But having said that, as Aussie fans, you'd love to see him still on the Thunder with the way that they're playing and potentially making a run this year.
I just think the off-the-court stuff and how the defensive final series went, I think they just made a knee-jerk reaction instead of trying to help him grow and build into that young team.
It's been consistent for the Bulls. He's played 52 games, started all 52, averaging 29 minutes, 12.5 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Not too bad.
Leads the team in assists and steals.
Yeah, assists and steals. Josh Giddey. Would love to see him continue to sort of rebuild his career after some off-court kind of stuff last year.
Just mostly bullshit in the end.
76ers, they're losing a lot of games. Embiid has played 18 games. So speaking about, how good Giddey's played, staying healthy for 52. Yeah, it's not looking good for Embiid and the 76ers. There'll be lots of speculation.
Is it still knee?
Yeah, it's mostly knee. I think it just swells up and just gets nasty.
If he's going to have chronic something.
I'd say so.
Arthritis or something in his knee.
I think last year, because he had that meniscectomy, and then they pretty much they fast tracked him trying to get back for
finals run.
Yeah, for the playoffs, and I don't know if it was too soon or big guys and they need more rehab. He would have the best surgeons and physios and sports medicine guys in the world, but he just hasn't quite looked the same, has he, over the last 2 years, really? Tyrese Maxey looks good. Looks very, very good. So they'll be trying to keep him, I'd imagine. He'll probably get a super maxi soon. Nets, they trade Ben Simmons to the LA Clippers.
Was he traded, or I thought he opted out of his deal?
And
then he got picked up and he signed with the Clippers.
Correct. Yeah.
But anyway, he's ended up with the Clippers.
At the Clippers, I think you're right. I don't think he got traded. I think opted out and signed with the Clippers. I think you're 100% right there. Raptors in 13th, Hornets in 14th. So Mark Williams had the deal set to go to the Lakers, become their big man. Yeah. Failed a physical. Had announced a trade for Dalton Connect. So that's been rescinded. Yeah, Connect doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I've read some stuff on that. They should have never failed him, I think, was because he played against the Lakers, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
I wonder if they had buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
And the Lakers failed him on some bullshit just so they didn't have to do the deal. So.
Well, I wonder who does those as well. It wouldn't be... Are they independent doctors?
The teams, the teams will be checking him out.
So they could definitely say to him, we don't want to do this anymore. Can you just...
Yeah.
Surely... Yeah, I don't know.
No doctors here. We like to think we are sometimes. LaMelo, his health's been a bit of a concern. He's only played 3 games in February. I suppose with where they are in the way that the season's shaping out, there's no point overdoing things. Miles Bridges playing good in his absence.
Yeah. Do you see his old man had his foot amputated?
I did not see that.
Yes.
Wow.
That was the news during the week. And I think with what Dion
name again.
something ball.
Yeah.
Le something ball.
As soon as you bring it up.
Yeah, as soon as you bring it up,
Yeah.
though. But with
Lavar, that's right.
Lavar, yeah.
I was like, la.
La, 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 la. La, la, la,
With Dion,
Undisclosed
Dion
serious
Sanders had
medical issue.
a large part of his foot amputated as well. Like, yeah, make sure you look after your foot health.
Did not know that. Wizards, they come to last. They suck. Let's go to the West. A team that certainly doesn't suck is the Thunder. They're $1.91 to take the West. SGA is short now to win the MVP, $1.22. He'll be the first Canadian since Steve Nash to win the MVP. Geez, imagine it'd be a big year for the Canadians.
Would be.
Hockey champs and SGA wins the MVP. He's averaging 32.5 per game. That leads the league in the points per game basis. And his last run, I'll just go through some games.
Yeah, go.
This is points scored: 34 against the Bucks, 50 against the Suns, 25 against the Raptors, 32 against the Grizzlies. He's just putting up 30 plus every night.
If Joker breaks Westbrook's triple-double record this year, do you think they put him back in the conversation?
Nah.
Or do you think he's going to get Joker / Lamard because he's already won it?
Yeah, he's won it too many times. Look, there's an arc, Joker's numbers aren't really down on where...
They're as good, if not better, again, than
Mm-hmm.
what last year was. So
I feel
But
like
still
unless...
Shai's like SGA is still leading him in most stats anyway. So
What's he led? Points per
Points.
game.
So,
Points per game,
Points per game.
Joker would have boards and assists. He'd have more... SGA would have more steals.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, more steals there.
I don't think SGA's going to have too many blocks.
No, I wouldn't.
What about from the line? So SGA shooting about 899. Call it 900 from
I
free
have
throw.
seen this, but he's got almost double the amount of free throws that Joker's had. So there's a bit of the he's a free throw merchant chat going out as well. As a good, from the Denver fan down the end here.
He's a point guard.
Yeah.
Look at this. Well, that's interesting. Their field goal percentage, they're 1 and 2. SGA at 603 and Jokic at 567. Shooting 60% from the field's fucking pretty insane.
Yep.
And has the most attempts in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless there's a
I think it's
massive
closer than people
probably
the bookies make it out to be. But I think with the rhetoric and the recency bias, SGA is probably
unless he gets hurt or there's a massive regression.
yeah.
Yep.
Grizzlies are in the 2 still. They jump up there. Jaren Jackson's playing good. So is Ja. They're both averaging over 20 PPG. They're $12 to win the West. Your Nugs, they're looking pretty good. They had an 8-game winning streak heading into the All-Star break. They did lose today.
Lakers today.
Yeah.
Lakers had to have 4 guys hit 20 points, and Luka's probably best game playing for the Lakers.
Yep. First 30-point game for the Lakers, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's some jokes going around. He got LeBron'd because his numbers were way down, and he looked all of his 290 pounds. Those were the jokes. I think
that number's gone up 20 pounds.
Yeah, I think probably chemistry is the main thing. How does he fit? How's his team? How does he work? Because him and LeBron are definitely want a lot of ball. So it's just, I think they're kind of now starting to find their rhythm a little bit and see how they can make it run going forward.
Chemistry's always hard when you've got 2 superstars. The Rockets are ahead of the Lakers still, but they're 2-7 since the last pod. Fred VanVleet's been injured. They're going south. Lakers in 5th, 32-20. They are $8.50 to win the West. They're winning lots of games. And think about this, before the Luka trade, they were $21 to win the West. Now they're $8.50. LeBron could still play some ball at the age of 40 as well. So in the first game without AD, he put up 42, 17, and 8.
Yep.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah. But I think Luka did like 14 or 16 in that game as a direct comparison. So, I think as time goes on, they'll work their stuff out. And I think they're starting to pick that up, especially with that win today against the Nuggets. I think that's really good for them going forward.
Clippers in 6th. They're $15 to win the West. They do get Ben Simmons, as we mentioned before. He's played 33 games, so he's sitting at about 60%.
What role does Ben kind of play in that?
Yeah, it's a good question. He's like one of the most Swiss Army knife type players that there is. Like he's essentially a tall point guard, but they probably don't need him to play as a guard. Look at their depth chart.
Like his strengths,
getting
playing defense and doing assists. Yeah. So I'd be interested to see how the rest of that team kind of functions around him.
Well, Norman Powell's probably the most prolific scorer now on the offense, with Harden being number 2. But yeah, with Kawhi healthy as well, it's a pretty interesting sort of starting 5 there at the Clippers. They'll have Zubac, will be their big man.
Would he play like a forward role?
He might, yeah.
Might have to.
He might have to.
But maybe that suits him better, honestly. Like, he's 6'10", like he's a big dude.
What have they got him listed as? They've got him. They're listed as a backup guard. No, how good's this? He's the second string center and he's the third string point guard, according to ESPN's depth chart. So there you go. ESPN's got no fucking idea either. I think he's just going to be like the Swiss Army knife kind of player.
So not starting 5, maybe 6 man.
Yeah, maybe he'll if he stays healthy next year, he could be a 6 man of the year. Maybe. Yeah. So healthy. That looks like a good team.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, it might be a tad old in a couple of positions, but those guys aren't, especially with James Harden, they're nothing to sneeze at. And actually, Patty Mills, did end up there too.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of people jumping on the Clippers bandwagon for Australia.
See how they go. They're sitting at 6th at the moment. We've got a bit to go.
Yeah, and it's unlike the East. It's a lot very tight through this play-in sort of section. Yep. T-Wolves sitting in 7th. They're $21 to win the West. They did beat the Thunder. Ant Edwards, we saw on those stats before, amongst has the second most field goal attempts in the league.
They really lost out in that cat trade, I reckon.
Yeah, big time. Go Bears. A step behind where he was and isn't playing every night. They just look a step back from where they were. But
Edwards needs a running mate, I think, is the way that kind of works out.
They are 5 games clear of the Mavs in 8. So this is where it's going to get real interesting.
I feel like the Mavs probably going to go backwards. Losing Luka and then
AD gets hurt in the first game.
Away.
How about the cruel irony? Like, I don't know how much to believe, that they had, there was a conditioning issue with Luka, and then you're bringing in a guy who isn't renowned for, staying healthy all the time. Yeah. And
he's in shape though.
That is true. That is true. And he's been braining it this season. He's having essentially a career year, big AD. And remember, he picked up that ab strain a couple of weeks ago for the Lakers, and then he does a groin / abdominal. They're not really sure. Yeah. I watched a video of it. The mechanism looked like a groin, but I think they've called it ab. He said post game it didn't seem too serious, but has missed some time.
Oh, looking at the video, it looks like he's grabbing the big piece down there. So I'm thinking maybe more groin.
Maybe that's why there's some speculation onto what the injury was.
I definitely think it's more groin than abs is. So, yeah.
So it'll be interesting. It's not season ending regardless. So it'll be interesting to see when he comes back if they can get some consistency together with their starting 5, how they actually look.
They're going to need it.
Some random news.
Staying on the Mavs there. Yeah, I did see this during the week. Kyrie Irving has talked about potentially flipping allegiance and playing for Australia at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. I think this is probably a non-starter because, one, it's the Olympics in the USA. Mm-hmm. So if he's going to play, he might play for the USA team. But maybe there's some thinking there that...
Do you think he makes the USA team?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe he doesn't, whereas he'll walk straight into an Australian team, that's for sure.
I reckon I would say that's 100% what that's going to be like. If I had to pick USA team right now, I don't know if Kyrie Irving's
3 years away, he'd be 35.
He's not going to be in the best 12 players in the US in 3 years' time.
Yeah.
Agree. So,
come on down.
Definitely, come on down. Join the Aussie boys.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he'd be 36. He's born in Melbourne, so his old man was playing in the National Basketball League down here, for those that don't know. But
his old man, of course, was American and come across and was playing basketball.
Yeah, exactly. He lived here for 2 years, I think, 3 years, something like that.
Before they went back.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we wouldn't mind having Kyrie as a boomer. I reckon that'd be good fun.
A good direct replacement for Paddy Mills, maybe.
Yeah. Paddy might be going, hey, I love the boomers. I'm going again.
Who'd be older?
Yeah, Paddy would be
Paddy be older. Yeah. Paddy's pretty close.
He's at 89 vintage, I think. Yeah, I think he's 36.
Yeah,
he actually might be 88. You can check that. Yeah. So he'll be like 40.
A second ago, wasn't he? Yeah.
It'd be he's pretty close to the end of his career currently.
But he loves boomers basketball as well. Yeah. So, be interesting to see.
If he's not in the team, he'll probably be on the coaching staff.
He'll be tail waving.
For sure.
Is he 88 vintage?
88, yeah.
So
man, that hurts. You said 88 and you'll be in your 40s by next Olympics.
Yeah. A few boys here that aren't far off that. 1990, baby, let's go. Even that's starting to feel old.
Born before the internet, bro.
Where are we? Kings. They're about 500. So Zach LaVine comes in from Chicago. But
good get for them.
Yeah, good get, but I think the Aaron Fox is the bigger loss, I would say.
I agree.
So Fox goes over to the Spurs. Warriors pick up Jimmy Butler. He's playing about 21 playing about 32 minutes a game, averaging about 21 points. They're winning a few games since he's come in. Time will tell if the trade was a good one, but so far so good there in the Bay Area. The Suns, they're disappointing, man, when you look at their
Did they get anyone in the trade window?
I don't think so in the end.
And they kept Bill as well?
Yes, I think Bill's a Sun.
I think they probably lost out in all those conversations then. So.
Well, all the talk was that they were a hot spot for Jimmy Butler. They were going hard in the trade period.
Oh no, that was the report that they had the deal done for Durant to go back to Golden State and Jimmy B would end up with the Suns.
Yeah,
but Durant poo-pooed that deal and said, "I'm not going back. I don't want to go back."
They traded Nurkic. Is that right? They traded their centre away for Cody Martin. So. Yeah,
huge news.
Yeah, not massive names. Nurkic has been their centre for a while, but yeah, given the speculation around this trade period, probably didn't have any huge signings.
Yep.
But yeah, they're just losing a lot since the last pod. They lost 2 to the Blazers. They've lost to the Nugs. Beat the Jazz. You'd hope they'd beat the Jazz. Lost the Grizz. Lost the Rockets. Played lots of good West teams.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah, it's a tough list.
Yeah, but you want to put the Blazers away. They lost 2 to the Blazers, so maybe they don't deserve to be playing playoff basketball if that's what they're going to be dishing up.
Yeah, agree.
Probably the biggest news in basketball in the last couple of days, at least. Alluded to it before. Victor Wembanyama was reported as a shoulder injury. It's a blood clot.
Yep, blood clot in his shoulder. Yeah, there were some reports that he wasn't feeling too great in the last couple of games and thought they'd take the All-Star, break, see how he recovers, see how he feels, and still felt, I think it was like lethargic is what he was talking about. And they checked him over, did some scans on him, and they found some blood clot in his shoulder. And
that's crazy.
We were like, you don't want to be playing that. We'll shut you down and get you healthy. I had, of course, seen some conspiracy here. Like, yes, we just got Fox. We need a tank so we can get a good high pick. Chris Paul's probably not going to go around again, and get someone else, and then create our big 3 essentially to go forward.
Sounds like a dog shit conspiracy.
Yes.
That's flat Earth kind of gear there. You're going to put your generational talent on ice to get a draft pick next year.
Well,
you bring in Fox.
They were resting him a lot the year.
They could make a run if with Wemby healthy and the Suns playing like garbage. They could have made a run this year.
I know, but I've seen some chat about that. And yes, they're sitting in 12th, probably about equal with Trailblazers in 13. 10-game lead on the other 2. So it's it'd be an all-time tank job from here. But
100%.
Yeah,
and then tanking from that position as well in the NBA to me doesn't make sense because it's a lottery system as well. Like you could tank and end up with that 8th pick. Like, I think that's some tinfoil hat stuff there. It's a good pickup from the medical team as well because you don't want to miss those. I was doing a bit of research. There's actually been a few in the NBA before. So Brandon Ingram had one in 2019. He had to sit the rest of the season, come back the next year fine, essentially. And Chris Bosh had one late in his career in his leg, and that was actually ended his career.
Yeah, because isn't there's two kind of solutions? It's like invasive surgery, like we go in and take it out, or it's
just get smashed with blood thinners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We medicate it and you essentially rest and hopefully kind of clears out through your system.
Yeah, and then the problem with like being on those blood thinners is if you fall and
get a cut or anything, you just
you piss out blood, or even just from a recovery standpoint, it's not good. If you tear a muscle and you're on blood thinners, it's not good. Like you can get like a compartment syndrome.
Blood thinners are very much for old folks. keep the heart rate pumping at a good rate. So it's not for freak athletes in their early 20s.
Yeah, so look, shitty news. One of the most popular players in the NBA at the moment. I love watching him just because he does alien things. But obviously, his future, he's got a long career ahead of him. Much more important than the Spurs winning a play-in game this season. So good to see them pack up on him for the year and just get him right, and hopefully he makes full recovery.
Yep. Again, wishing him all the best in health, but also he drops out of the defensive player race as well because of that 65
game rule. Yeah. He was like a shoe-in for defensive player of the year.
Been, yeah.
Good pick up there, Monks.
Yeah, that's real unfortunate.
He's still probably on his rookie deal, so I don't think that it will affect his potential earning capacity going forward. Like to get a max deal, I think he's got to win one of those awards, doesn't he?
Nah, I don't think so. I think he'll get a max deal at some stage. He's in his second year and he's a top 15 player in the NBA.
Yeah. But take Luka, for example, because he switched teams, he can't get a max deal next year. So because he's at the Lakers now, it's cost him $100+ million.
That is true. But it could be like...
Yeah, it depends on the caveat. I don't remember how they work out exactly how max deals work.
I think it could just be like... It's not a super max, but
it's
like a couple mil underneath. I'm not really sure, if I'm being completely honest. What I did want to look at was who is the Defensive Player of the Year favourite now. Read out those last few teams there. I'll find it.
Well, while you talk about that, the other big news for them was Pop. Pop has not been coaching after suffering a stroke, I think, at the start of the season. So I think follow-up news during the week from his follow-up tests and stuff like that. They're just unlikely he's going to be back this year to do any coaching, and the future's still very uncertain. They just got to see how he recovers after having that stroke. And, I think he's in his 70s or late 60s at least.
He'd be in his 70s, I reckon.
Yeah, so it's not a great thing. So basketball's furthest from his mind, and they'll hope to see him recover, get a full recovery, and come back sometime later.
Two-horse race here for Defensive Player of the Year. Jaren Jackson, $2.30. Evan Mobley, $2.37. I was wondering, Dyson Daniels must have been there or thereabouts. His fourth favourite at 17. Yep. Keep stealing away there, baby. Great Barrier Thief. Blazers, 23 and 32.
Actually, 6-game winning streak.
Yeah, there's a 6-game winning streak. They're
losing to Wolves and Nuggets, so...
Yeah, good teams to lose to. Yeah. So they could potentially be there for play-in. And then Jazz and Pelicans, Dunskies. It was a couple of weeks ago now, but poor DeJounte Murray did his Achilles. Pels would be in full tank mode, you'd think.
Yeah. I did see Zion was like third or fourth fastest to 5,000 points.
Yeah, right.
So
that's pretty incredible considering how much injury time he's missed.
Yep.
He was ready-made NBA as a rookie, though, I suppose. There's not heaps of people that come in as a rook and just go bang straight away. Well, pointy end of the season now after the All-Star break. It'll be interesting to see how that East unfolds and if anyone can match the Celtics and Cavs. And the West will be fun to follow, I think, as it gets closer and closer, given anyone down to about 12 you think could make a run come playoff time. Should we talk some soccer?
Talk some soccer? No.
EPL, we've had a few match days since the last pod. I won't go through all those results, but probably the big news from last weekend was Haaland going down in Manchester City's 4-0 win against Newcastle. EPL notoriously tight-lipped for what's going on with players' injuries. It's not season-ending, so it's not an ACL, straight up. And there was some speculation that he's there or thereabouts already. So he may have just had a bump or a low-grade MCL strain.
Didn't look like a... what's the one? Not dislocation, the other one. The hyperextension.
Yeah.
Didn't look like that?
Hyperextension is just a mechanism, so it's not an injury per se. It actually didn't look great. It was non-contact.
They're not the good ones.
Yeah, there was some fear for ACL initially. So his ACL is obviously intact. They haven't really said much other than his day-to-day, so I don't think he'll be far off anyway. I think it was more hearts in mouth kind of stuff for City fans until that MRI come back. See what you can find. They normally, for some leagues, it's really easy. Like, say, following the NRL and AFL here, they just say exactly what the injury is. Even in the NFL, they're pretty good, which is interesting because it's comparable sort of contracts.
Yep.
But the EPL and soccer in general is pretty tight-lipped. Like, even with the soft tissue stuff, like they'll say, has such and such has a leg injury. Like, you won't even know if it's a hammy or a quad, unless you're watching mechanisms happen and trying to work it out yourself. But I don't think there's anything official there for what his injury is.
No. All I've got right here is...
knee injury?
No, not even, in regards to that just yet. They don't even think he's going to be playing today or the next match against Liverpool. So.
Yeah, from looking at it, that's not a bad result. Like if he misses a few weeks, that's big as well. That's tonight, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
What else happened last week? Liverpool did win. Tottenham won the cup of stinky, supposed good teams against Man United.
I think Arsenal losing is the big one.
Yeah, so that was last night. So match day 26, Arsenal lose to West Ham, which means they're 8 points behind Liverpool. You don't want to say it was, they're winning the league's done. It's still within 3 games with 12 to go, but geez, that hurts. That hurts big time.
Yeah. I think we've been saying it the whole time. Like, it's, Liverpool's to lose at this point.
Yeah.
That's the far ahead.
And losing home games to West Ham, there'd be a lot of Gunners fans that were pretty upset with that, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree.
United drew overnight with Everton, so they sit in 15th. We're talking possibly about relegation, 6 weeks ago. I don't think that's going to happen, but I also don't think they're finishing top 10.
Yeah, they'd have to shit the bed from here, and one of those other teams have to do all right. But
13 points clear of the drop zone. But, looking up, like Fulham's 9 points ahead of them. I don't think they're going to finish 10th. 12th might be realistic where Tottenham is, which is crazy to think. Speaking of Tottenham, they won big overnight, 4-1 against Ipswich. Gather that together with the United win last week. Maybe a bit of pressure coming off Big Ange.
Yep.
It was looking pretty ordinary a few weeks ago. They sit in 12th. And we spoke about Marcus Rashford going out on loan to Aston Villa. He impressed last night, had 2 assists to put Asensio in. They beat Chelsea. Aston Villa's looking pretty good in Champions League too. We'll get to that in just a second. Should we run through the table?
Yep. I think you've covered the top half. So
bits and pieces.
Not Forest still holds on to third spot, so it's good to see them there.
Yep, so for 47 for Not Forest. They're 6 behind Arsenal with a game in hand.
Yeah, I think for them it's just like, are we going to get hunted down by City?
City's coming. They're 44 points, so they're 3 points behind.
Look at pretty much
tight,
ninth,
that last 2 Champions League spots. So let's assume that Liverpool and Arsenal are definitely playing Champions League. I think that's a pretty safe assumption to make. From 3 at Not Forest at 47 to, say, 9 at Brighton at 40, there's only 7 points separating these teams. So City on 44 sort of got their season back on track after a pretty ordinary sort of run through Christmas. Bournemouth a point behind them, but a game behind as well, 43. Chelsea losing overnight, not great for them. They're equal with Bournemouth in 6th on 43. Aston Villa, again, 1 down there from Chelsea with 42. And then another point down to Newcastle in 8th at 41.
There, Newcastle.
Yeah, they've lost 3 of their last 5, the Geordies. And then another point down to Brighton in 9th at 40. And then mid-table, 10th Fulham, 11th Brentford, 12th Tottenham, 13th Palace, 14th Everton, 15th United, 16th West Ham, 17th Wolves. Big gap there between West Ham and Wolves. So West Ham probably safe, you'd think, 8 points clear of Wolverhampton on 22. Yep. And then Wolves 5 points clear themselves from Ipswich, and Leicester equals on 17 points. They're 18 and 19, and Tottenham's Gonskis at Tottenham. Southampton's that was a Freudian slip as well, everyone. Southampton's dead last in 9th with 9 points.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Wolves, what were the Wanderers there? They're the ones.
There's four
probably at risk.
Yep. 4 teams that could get relegated, one of which will be Southampton.
Yeah.
Liverpool can't win the treble. They got knocked out by Plymouth Argyle. How about that last weekend in the FA Cup? Ryan Hardy scored for Plymouth. They're coming dead last in the championship. It is their second season up in it from League One. So interesting. Anything can happen in the FA Cup. But Liverpool still going in the Champions League. Look likely to win the league, but they can't do a treble.
They get Man City next? All right.
Yeah, in the league, they play tonight.
And that Arsenal, not Forest game looks pretty...
Yeah, when's that? Thursday.
Actually,
yeah, nice. Yeah, so big matchups there. Well spotted.
Yeah.
Well spotted. Talk some Champions League. So the round of 16 has been announced. A couple big outs so they had that's all funny this year with the 36-team league. So 1 through 8, you get automatic qualification, and then 9 through 24 had to play some knockouts.
Yep.
So Man City got knocked out in that. Celtic got knocked out by Bayern. AC Milan got knocked out by Feyenoord. There was a few big clubs to miss out. Monaco got knocked out. Juventus got knocked out. Yep. So a few big in those Champions League knockouts. So round of 16 has been announced. This is the brackets. PSG versus Liverpool. That's pretty saucy. Club Brugge, Aston Villa. Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. That's massive there. And PSV, Arsenal. So they're on one side. So the 3 remaining English sides all on the same side.
Yep.
And then the other side is Benfica, Barca, Dortmund, Lille, Bayern versus Leverkusen. That's massive. 2 big German clubs going head-to-head. And Feyenoord versus Inter. I think they kick off in about 10 days, I think. Yep. You got dates there for those first legs? Yeah, scroll up. Knockout phase playoff.
I need to go here.
5th of March.
5th of March. Oh, 4th of March.
Yeah, 4th, 5th March. So that'll be midweek next week.
Yep.
That'll do us for some soccer. Definitely Liverpool's to lose, and the treble will elude them this year. Hopefully United don't get relegated. I think they'll be sweet, and some juicy matchups there for those second 2 Champions League spots, the 3rd and the 4th spot. All right, let's wrap this bitch up. Let's talk some final round. UFC 312 was last weekend with Dricus du Plessis, and still at middleweight, defending his belt against Sean Strickland. There was no questions about this one. A lot of people had Sean Strickland winning their first fight. I don't think anyone had Sean Strickland winning this one. He got pieced up. What did we think of this?
Nose shattered as well.
Yeah, he got his nose broken for sure. What do we think of this one, boys?
It felt like Strickland didn't get out first gear. I think he was very...
Gun shy?
Yeah, maybe gun shy is the right thing. If his game plan was, if that was his game plan, it was, be tight and throw jabs when you can and try to wear Dricus down. But I think Dricus, though looks tired, has a very good cardio anyway. And, he definitely has some power and he strikes there. And I think that, the big turning point in the fight was breaking his nose and having Strickland had to whack it back into place, and lots of blood involved in that. So, but I think throughout the exchanges, Dricus got off his shots better, got off bigger shots, and could get out before Strickland really could get anything off. So I think he really learnt from the first fight and was very dominant in this. So it was I think it was 50-45 on the scorecards.
It was 149-46.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I realistically, he dominated the whole fight. So I don't know, no one can doubt that. And it's a bit hard in the middleweight division for next opponent.
For matchmaking?
Yeah, matchmaking for Dreykus, because all the top guys, I think we talked this leading into it, he's already really beaten already. So there's not really... Hamzat. That's the one. That's the one I'm forgetting. Hamzat would be the main one in that list for mine.
Yeah, so he already has a few title defences. So beat Izzy at 305, beat Strickland at 312, and got the belt off Strickland as well.
Beat Whittaker in the lead up to that.
He's beat Whittaker.
So, yeah.
Izzy coming off a loss. I don't think... Oh, no, they've already announced Izzy and Imavov. So, yeah, Dreykus, next fight...
They fought already.
They fought already.
Yeah, sorry. So that's who beat. That's who beat him. Sorry. So yeah, Imavov is the
currently weighing.
So will he get? Will he get it?
I think.
Or you reckon they give it to Hamzat?
I think they give it to Hamzat. Just
purely. 14-0. He's never lost in the UFC.
Yeah, bigger name. I think overall.
Do you give them two a fight first, and then whoever wins that then gets Duplessis?
Maybe, but I think it makes.
But why have rankings if you're going to give Hamzat go over Imavov?
Yeah, well,
that's what I'm looking at. Like Hamzat's just.
I think Hamzat's probably ranked too low there than where he probably should be.
Yeah, but
I think
why have ranked like that?
I don't know. It's just what they've ranked him.
And I agree with you. Like, I agree that Hamzat probably deserves the next shot and it makes for an enticing fight. But
yeah, the only other name in that is because Dreykus called it out as well as Pereira coming back down.
He has to kill himself to make that weight.
Yeah, for him, I'd rather he didn't do that and stay at the lightweight division, if not move into the heavyweight division. Try and be a 3-weight division champion, essentially.
Do you think he'd go to heavyweight?
I think, he walks around at 230. Like, I think he could do it.
Yeah, but...
And he just needs to throw one bomb
that is true.
And win the belt. So,
but he could also, got a lot of power up there.
Yeah.
And John Jones took how long off? 2.5 years to go up? Well, yeah, I don't know.
But I think he was more like a skinny 220. Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, Pereira.
I feel like Pereira carries his weight a bit better. But having said that, if he fights John Jones, like, I think they're comparable. So, in the size comparison. So,
few fun fights. So DDP probably to get Imavov or Hamzat for the next when they announce that. And just speaking of bigger guys as well, killing themselves to cut weight. Dreykus looks fucking big as well at middleweight, and his cardio.
I think height-wise, like, it has to be his division. He's not tall like Pereira is. He's 6'4",
6 flat.
I think middleweight makes sense, but he's he swells out after that. Yeah. So, my point being is I think he'd be undersized as a light heavyweight. 205 at 6 foot.
Also got the middleweight record for most significant strikes landed in that one. So well done to you, Dreykus. That's a couple title defences. And, the question's now, who will you get next? Women's strawweight, Zhang Wei Li retains against Tatiana Suarez, the highly touted American fighter. She dominated 5 rounds here. That's Suarez's first loss. We were looking at her in the preview. Pretty incredible story, having beaten cancer and still getting to that title fight at the age of 34. So pretty incredible stuff. A wrestler background, just couldn't really get the takedowns. And
I think Haley really showed her evolution as she's more and more complete fighter.
Well-rounded now, isn't she?
Like, she was defending takedowns and winning grappling exchanges and even getting her own takedowns. Like, she had a few leg trips to in that. So it was top to bottom, just a dominant fight from her. There was points where you thought that maybe Suarez's team actually might throw the dowel in because she was getting pieced up, and also thought that Weili might get a finish here, but she just kind of couldn't put it all together. So, it's a bit of a challenge of the smaller girls to try to get knockouts, but I think it shows she's still dominant in that division, and whether Did she fight Bullet?
Yeah, does she? Yeah.
Does she go up?
I don't know if she
give
could,
up that.
Yeah, I don't know if she could go
it's
up.
Such a challenge. So yeah,
she's putting together a pretty handy resume. So after getting the belt off Andrade, beat Joanna, lost to Rose. Yep. Then beat Joanna, then got the belt back off Carla Esparza, and then has defended 3 times now against Lemos, Yan Xiaonan, and Tatiana Suarez. So she's really starting to cement herself as one of the best female fighters of all time.
Yeah, and at the moment they're just giving her up and comers, like guys with girls with good records that have run up through the division, beaten all their opponents. But there isn't really a big name, stalwart name that's as competitive. Like if Rose comes back, but I think Rose hasn't really been fighting that much recently and it's kind of dropped down the rankings.
She had 3 fights last year.
Yeah.
But
I think she's ranked 6th at the moment, isn't she? So it's whether go up the 10 pounds and
let's get try a height on Valentina. She's only 5'5", so there's not going to be. And Zhang's 5'4". Valentina looks like
she's big though.
Fairly strong type fighter. She's actually Bullet's 36 as well. So
got her fight announced
against Manon Fiorot, which we'll get to in just a second. Did you see in the post fight she had the mic and was doing the Aussie, and the crowd was loving it. So good on you, Zhang Wei Li. She's currently 2 in pound for pound behind Valentina in the women's pound for pound. So that'll be enticing if she does go up, or she could just keep defending her belt at 115.
Yep.
The rest of the card was mixed bag for the Aussies. So Justin Taffa got knocked out by Talison Teixeira of Brazil in the heavyweight. It was elbow and punches, TKO'd in the first round. I think Taffa's had a few losses of late now. Yeah, so it might be sliding just a little bit.
Yep.
Jimmy.
That's heavyweight, what do you expect?
Yeah, that's right. It's so
the Jimmy Crute
so volatile.
Yeah, it was interesting though.
Yeah, what do you think about the draw?
With the draw, I can't remember. Was there a points deduction? It has to be to get a 28-28.
Not actually sure.
Yeah. Can you just check to see if Jimmy Crute got a points deduction, Jimmy, in this? Because I would to be a 28-28, I would have thought so. Because the other one, 29-27.
To Crute.
Yeah, to Crute would have meant he won all 3 rounds.
Yep.
So he would have had 30, but had a point deductions, whereas the others are saying he won
1.5.
Yeah, he won 2.
With a points deduction.
The points deduction, which gives it the majority draw. So, it makes it hard. But I think everything was good to see Jimmy back, and he really pushed hard to finish this fight, and then gassed pretty hard in the 3rd round, and I guess it kind of led to the last rounds of that fight being uneventful and kind of flip-floppy.
What are our thoughts on the majority draw? Like, to avoid having the draw, should you go off the 3rd judge, or does that just give too much power to one judge?
Yeah, I think so.
Robbed. That's our our headline down there.
Australian media probably robbed.
Yeah, Dana's a big fan of the Australian media. If you missed those comments, Dana didn't mince his words when it came to talking about our lovely media down under. That's why I should get around independent media, the shit-talking podcast,
We understand how the NRL media works, so unsurprised on Dana's comments.
Yep. The Mayo man.
Yes, yeah.
Looks like I can't find too much there, yeah.
I would most likely think it was a points deduction.
Yeah, I feel like you're right.
To get to that.
No point deductions.
Really?
Yeah. So how's it read then?
One round must be a draw.
Because otherwise it's... Well, did they give the last round like a 9-9?
Let me bring this up on the big screen.
Yeah, sure, and I'll tell you if I can see it.
Oh, I know how to go all the way down again.
Scroll.
Whilst Jimmy's finding that, just shout out to Quillian Salkilit, who's an Aussie who won in the prelims with a 19-second KO. So big UFC debut for him.
Oh, no, there you go. So Jimmy had a 10-8. This is why. He had a 10-8 round.
And then lost
round
2 rounds.
And then lost the 2. And that's what I mean. Like, he tried hard to finish that first round because he got that knockdown in it. And then gassed. And then... so 2 of the judges... didn't give him round 2. One of them gave him round 2. So I guess round 2 must have been close, and he lost all 3 for round 3.
Rob, bro. Should we talk some UFC news?
Sure.
Big news with Ilya Topuria vacating with all rumours to go up to try and fight Islam Makhachev. This one kind of caught, I think, a lot of people unawares when the news broke earlier in the week.
Yeah, it was almost midnight. Oh, not that. No, sorry, it was late evening for us, but when it came out, but yeah, it was a bit of a shock. I had seen the rumours. Yeah, there had been the talk about going up and defending, trying to be double champ. But I think Ilya, following the McGregor playbook, so they have a lot of comparisons besides tattoos, where I think it makes a lot more sense long term for him to go up to lightweight. I think he gives up about an inch to those guys on average. I think
three to Makhachev.
So 5'7". Yeah. So I think McGregor's slightly taller than him. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. Rumours is to fight Islam at the end of the year, like towards the year. So he might have something beforehand, and that might be Dustin Poirier potentially for his retirement fight. So as a guy that's in the top 5. Because he doesn't want to fight Max Holloway again, because Max has actually officially moved up in Division 2.
Ranked 5th.
Yeah, and Hooker's booked with Gaethje. So
Chandler's booked.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense there for Dustin potentially as someone to fight mid-year and then have that Islam fight, build that you're in the lightweight division and then get that win. I don't think he needs a lightweight tune-up fight.
Just go straight
for champion.
He's 16-0.
Yeah, and he's just knocked out 2 all-time greats in the featherweight division, and a guy that Islam struggled with on a full camp in Volk. I think the matchups there is nice. Do I see him beating Islam? Probably not. Not at that size, and if he doesn't knock him out early, then I think Islam takes over.
He's got big cojones, that's for sure, to go up and take on the current number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world in Islam Makhachev.
So what does that mean? It means it opens up the door for the featherweight division. So they're going to have Volk take on, how do you say it's not...
Diego Lopez?
Is it Lopez? Or how do you say... Because there's no Z in there, it's just S.
I think it's just Lopez.
It's just Lopez?
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Lopez.
Yeah. So Volk taking on Lopez at UFC 314, and Diego's been on a really big, running through that division. He fought Ortega recently for the win, and that was a pretty good competitive fight. And then I think he took that short notice fight against Ige, for there, which both decisions. So, some questions about his overall talent, fighting for titles, and it'd be interesting to see how Volk kind of recovers from his bit of a slide recently. So, and I think it's 9 years of title fights for him or something like that, or 9 title fights in 7 years. Yeah, so Volk hasn't had a non-title fight in forever. Us Aussies, of course, would love to see Volk get a dub and get back in that column and, kind of recover from his recent knockout losses.
You mentioned the Ortega and Ige wins for Lopez, both being decisions, unanimous. The 3 fights before that were first round finishes.
Which is why he's been kind of fast tracked up into the rankings, and he's had a lot more closer fights recently of guys that are ranked. So Volk's another step up though, but Volk's not getting any younger as well. So I think it plays out to be an interesting fight for that UFC for UFC 314.
Speaking of 88 models before, with Paddy Mills, Alexander Volkanovski, September 1988, he is 36 years of age.
Interesting on that. The other interesting fight on that, Michael Chandler's going to take on Paddy the Baddy Pimblett.
That's fun.
Very fun. A big step up for Paddy. A bit interesting for Chandler considering he waited 2 years and didn't get the McGregor fight. So where he's at in his career, maybe fun fights make a lot of sense. He's still ranked pretty well in the lightweight division, but I think this is a good name there to throw in there, and it'll be a good fight. Jim Miller's goes around for another fight.
Dan Ige we just spoke about, Jeff Neal, few names on the undercard. But yeah, definitely the main and the co-main, the big calls there. Calling cards for UFC 314. I don't know what I was trying to do there. Draw cards. That's what I was after. Draw cards.
Yeah. With this announcement, though, following the Australia favour, they had a little bit of announcement for UFC 315, which was going to have Muhammad defending his welterweight belt against the Australian Jack Delhi. Madalena. So
that's mad.
That's awesome for us.
That's very cool.
Where's Jack actually ranked? Because I think he's kind of sneakily
his fourth.
Sneakily worked his way into the top 5 there. So I think that's we've seen him fight. I think he's had some really good comeback wins as well, and fights he's probably been down on. So he's an absolute Aussie battler, and it'd be great to see him take that and potentially have the first time 2 Australian champions in the UFC.
Oh, could you imagine?
Yeah.
315 is in May. Yep. So not too long to wait for that. The co-main there is Valentina Shevchenko taking on Manon Fiorot in the women's flyweight.
Gilbert Burns taking on Morales there.
Yeah, it's good fun.
It's fun too.
There's some fights today.
So there wasn't a huge name value on the fight today besides Cejudo taking on Song Yodang. That fight was interesting in that it ended in a technical decision. Kind of had a weird ending there because Henry got eye poked, took the 5 minutes, then restarted the fight and finished off that third round. There's like a minute 15 left in that round. Sees out the round, then he's telling his team in the corner, like, I can't see out of my left eye, like I can't see anything. It's completely blind, everything's fuzzy. So they restart the 4th round to then call the fight by doctor's stoppage. But since the fight was over halfway, so 3 rounds had been completed, they went to the judges' scorecards and Henry had lost convincingly on scorecards. If he had pushed when he first got eye poked, the fight would have ended in a disqualification, wouldn't it? So he actually would have won. So there's some talk about running that fight back. I think Dana really poo-pooed that hard in the press conference afterwards. I think he maybe wasn't impressed with the way Cejudo, ended that fight. Whether he could have continued and they could have sent him out there and kept fighting, or whether he was pushing for a stoppage and then fucked up his own trying to get a disqualification win and ended up on a technical decision loss. It wasn't a great ending for the main fight on that card. But he had been losing pretty handily leading up to that.
Pretty rare to see a technical decision. Do you remember?
I can't remember a technical decision in a while. Usually it's doctor stoppage or disqualification because of an illegal shot. It's rare they get to the corner and then they have back and forth and the ref's like, hey, I've got to restart the 4th round so we can call it here and then go to the judge's current scorecard. So it's a first for me and very much recent memory. But it was a bit odd.
Certainly controversial. Anything else to add from the article there?
Kind of just like what you said. Dana White wasn't really too
impressed.
Yeah, he doesn't want to make the fight again. He's like, so the quote is, not at all, not even a little bit. I just don't want to see it again. You want to see it again? We probably don't. We should probably do it in a couple months. No.
Yeah, it's pretty affirmative.
He's not really one to mince words. So
no.
Yeah, and it's a bit of an interesting point for Cejudo's career because
38.
Yeah, and he took 2 years off while he was champion because retired and then kind of came back. UFC doesn't stop; it moves on very quickly, and people quickly grow and get talented and rust, etc. like that. So that big break, he hasn't won since he's come back.
3 losses. Marab, fair enough. And it's Aljamain also. Fair enough, yeah. But his last win was May 2020 against Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, and he's just been on the slide in the rankings since then. So, I don't know where his career goes for there. The only other interesting note out of this is they officially went back to the old gloves after changing them. I think the main thing is it's slightly less padding, and the old gloves are back to a bit more padding. Prelims, every single fight had a finish, so 7 from 7. So whether that's coincidence or whether a bit of the extra padding allows them to throw bigger shots without more risk. They've been able to get more KOs from that. So
correlation, causation, something.
Don't worry about CTE.
We get 7 finishes. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, true.
All right, should we talk some boxing?
Yeah, so it's one of the biggest boxing cards
Ever.
Ever. Definitely this year, for sure, the start of this year. We had the 2 big heavyweight fights to kind of set the top of that division, and then we had the undisputed fight for the light heavyweight world champions show. We'll start with Parker, being the Kiwi, gets his KO on, how do you say his name?
Bacoli, maybe? I'm not sure.
And he was on 48 hours notice, so he had like 4 connecting flights or something to get across because Daniel Du Bois had an illness, so had to pull out very late. He last fought at 280-something pounds. He weighed in at 318, so, really wasn't in a full camp, and Parker knocked him out with a big shot in the second round. So that's good for Parker. That keeps him very much in the conversation there. Doesn't really help that he didn't get that win over Daniels and Du Bois there, and especially with Usyk kind of talking during the week that he still wants to fight Daniel next and then potentially end his career with a fight against Alex Pereira. So, a bit of interesting there. Big Boy, is it Bang Zhang, I think is how he goes. Zhang actually lost.
Yeah, Xi Li Zhang.
Yeah, against, how do you say it?
Agit Caballero, I think.
Caballero? Yeah. He wins the vacant WBC interim heavyweight belt. Zhang,
Vacant interim.
Yeah. Try and make sense of that.
Yeah, exactly. So Zhang's getting a bit old.
He's 41.
He did get the knockdown early in this fight, but his kind of issue is if he doesn't get the finish early, he gasses late, and then this fight went on into the 9th round, and then he got the technical knockout. He got knocked down and then couldn't make the 10 count. So he loses there. So that kind of moves Zhang down a little bit, and then this new guy.
He's pretty handy, man.
He's
26-0. He's 32, so he's in his prime.
Yeah, see where he will fit in then going forward.
Mm-hmm. He's a German fighter. I think Turkish or Kurdish background, but born and raised in Germany.
Yeah, age 32. So we'll see how he fits in. And then of course we had the big one, and I struggle with names.
Dmitry Bivol beating Arda Beterbiev.
Yeah. So new undisputed light heavyweight and world champion. I think Bivol actually beat Canelo when Canelo tried coming up to take his belts at the time. But he's now undisputed light heavyweight world champion. There's already been calls for doing another trilogy fight because it was an excellent fight. He lost the first one, won the second one. Yeah. So, have a third to make it official. Talk about, do we run the Canelo fight again? Does Canelo come up and try and push to take that division? Because they had a pretty good competitive fight as well that he lost. Time will tell. Canelo's been interesting. There's been all the rumors about would he fight Jake Paul, that it was official for May, that it wasn't official, that their fight with Crawford for September was official, and they were going to do their belts. I think it was kind of a weird back and forth, but I think it ended up just purely being negotiation. Like Canelo was asking for more money. He's like, I don't get the money. I'll fight Jake Paul for a fuckload of money. So he got his 5-fight deal. 5-fight deal. One of which will be Crawford probably this year, and then where do the other 4 fit, and does a Bivol make a sense for a potential again massive undisputed champion fight? Like I think Crawford's a weight division down from Canelo, and he's undisputed at the moment. He's got all 4 belts. Canelo's got all his, so it's good to see we're getting champ fights essentially. So I like how the UFC does it. We're now starting to get them to come up and fight each other. So
Crawford's 2.
2 weight divisions.
Yeah,
down.
2 below.
What's the difference end up being?
It wouldn't be much in boxing. 76 to 6, call it 70, 6 kilos.
6 kilos, yeah. So, yeah, it's 10-pound weight division. That's not too bad. Yeah, that's like coming up a division, essentially.
Yeah,
So,
in the UFC.
yeah.
Boxing's good like that. It's very...
Yeah, well, they have lots of divisions, but it's
yeah.
good like that. They've
So
got 'em
confusing.
close. And then light heavyweight was another
175, so
yeah,
it's
3
actually
kilos up from
relatively
super,
light
So
because they've got cruiserweight.
yep.
Yeah. Hard to keep on top of. You got to be a boxing diehard, I think, to be able to rattle off all the current champs. Because with the 4 or 5 belts, it gets confusing pretty quick.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely knowing some names like Bivol,
He's got
important.
5.
Yeah, when he's unanimous.
They must have taken Canelo's IBF belt as well.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't have that at
dropped
the moment. They'll do for boxing.
yeah, and that's I think all the boxing news. No Aussie sports, Aussie football leagues this week.
We had some preseason trials.
Preseason,
Up the Mighty Dragons winning the Charity Shield.
Yes,
Very strong.
And South's got ravaged with injuries. So poor
have.
Cam Murray did his Achilles. Latrell, probably 6 to 8 weeks with a hammy.
His brother Shaq as well did a hammy, I think, as well.
Yeah, they have been absolutely destroyed with injuries this week.
And then your Blue Bagger's got the young fellas.
Jagger Smith did his ACL, which is
horrible. Tough off seasons.
Considering he's a number 3 pick. Horrible for anyone to do their ACL, but for someone who
early pick,
probably going to slide into the midfield rotation. Devastating for him. So looking forward to see what he can do for the Baggers in 26. I think we're going to pod next week. Is the chat here at Esky HQ because we
purely NRL.
Yeah, we might just do an NRL pod. So the Vegas games are less than a week away, so it'll be Sunday 11 a.m. is the Raiders Warriors game, followed by Panthers and Sharks for the second.
We'll have results for them.
Yeah, second year with opening rounds starting off in Vegas there at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. We will do a full NRL preview as we've done in years previous. We've split it up with Sydney teams, non-Sydney teams. I think we'll just bang out 17.
Yep.
And we've had a little sneak peek at 4 teams there. We'll be talking about how Vegas went and previewing the rest of the NRL season.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. This is On The Esky. If this is the first time that you've come across this channel, give it a subscribe on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up. We do put the episodes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you want to listen to it without the beautiful faces of us 3 sitting here on a Sunday night.
Faces for
Beautiful, you reckon?
Yeah, faces for radio or for podcasting, that's for sure. We'll do an NRL ep next week and then get back to regular programming, talking all different sports in a few weeks' time. This is On The Esky. Thanks for the listen. We'll see you next week to talk some rugby league.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Gotcha.